Hey everyone, happy Thanksgiving. It's Kevin DeSilva here, and I'm bringing you your Thanksgiving market update. So, a lot has happened this year, and it keeps fluctuating, but let's make some sense of it. So, last year, when interest rates doubled, the news media said that the whole housing market was going to crash, and they couldn't have been more wrong. Now, I wasn't nearly as pessimistic, but I also wasn't as optimistic. I was under the impression that we would just coast out the rest of the year roughly at the prices that we bottomed out at. Boy, was I wrong. Interest rates had gone from 7, almost 8%, back down to the 5-6% range, and the housing market reacted by rebounding. So, whereas the housing market had dropped 12% last year from June to December, this year it recovered 11%. So, I was wrong too, but I wasn't the housing market's going to crash 30% wrong. One thing to note, negative headlines do get more views, and the news media is all about your views, whereas I'm about bringing you the truth. So I was off, but I also wasn't all doom and gloom. The reason for that is too much equity in the market. Now, as interest rates now hover around 7%, let's see how things play out. So I've already said prices are up 11% this year. Month over month, it's only up 1%. That's the third month of consecutive 1% price increases on average. So it shows that we're relatively plateauing for the year. I do expect spring to start to kick into gear, especially as the Fed has signaled that they're pausing interest rate hikes, which means that rates might continue to soften. And if rates continue to soften, it might not be as bad as last year where, housing market just takes off and gains 11%, because last year was at 5%, this year we're at 7%. It will, although, offset. And during the spring, when everybody's out buying homes, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be a lot more competitive. So let's dive into this. Inventory starting to shrink though. In October, inventory had jumped almost 13% month over month. Now inventory is back down with only a 9% gain, and that is decreasing. Each and every week I watch this number, and it has steadily dropped off since Halloween. Essentially, it peaked the week before Halloween. So inventory shrinking. That means as inventory shrinks, it meets buyer demand. It's already increasing 1%, which could mean as interest rates come down, prices will start to rise with fewer selection. And what could happen is this could be the best time of next year to buy a house with interest rates going up. So, with inventory and prices going up. Keep in mind, more homes will come on the market in spring. It's just that when homes come on the market, they also get gobbled up much more because a lot of buyers are going to wait till after the new year. They're going to wait till after the holidays. And guess what's going to happen? If you wait till after the holidays as well, not going to be so great. All right, this may be the best opportunity to buy before spring hits in. Buyers are buying homes in fewer showings. So on average, a listing is only shown 3 times before they get an offer. It's down from 4, which means with the greater selection that they have that they didn't have in the spring, buyers are finding their home quicker. Homes are still selling around the asking price. So during the spring, homes were selling on average at about 103% of asking. So on average, homes were selling above asking. Right now, and this is for the third straight month, homes are selling at about asking, which means that when a deal pops up and you can get your hands on it, you should, because homes are also selling in 15 days. If you don't get your hands on it, somebody else might. My pick of the season right now are homes that are sitting on market that are slightly overpriced. You have a better negotiating position, especially right now. sellers might be advantaged to picking you if you can close before the new year for tax situations or before the holidays so that they can move into their next place. Something to think about. And so let me see here. If you get a deal, oh yeah, I already said that. All right. So what are my predictions for next year? I'm going to come out with a little bit more next month, but right now the west side is really hot, and I hypothesize, or it's a fancy word for saying I think with an educated guess. I think that the west side will continue to, because there's been such a lack of inventory. You have to keep in mind, for a lot of wealthier people, moving is discretionary. And if moving is discretionary, that means they don't have to move if they don't like where the prices are. Now that the prices have returned back close to, we're only 2% down from the peak in June of 2022. Now that prices have returned back to close to where they were back when everything left off, sellers are getting back into the market. And that means inventory is opening up. But the west side has been at such a deficit that it is such a hot market right now. And a couple other things, there are a lot of jobs on the west side. People like to stay close to their jobs. There's a number of reasons why people are buying in the west side over some of the fringe areas, like the suburbs, San Fernando Valley, San Gabriel Valley, the South Bay, the Long Beach, and East Los Angeles County. You have all these areas where are very, I find, very family driven. So families tend to move in the spring and the summer, and when they back out of the market, those areas cool down quite a bit. So we've seen a huge cool down in the South Bay and the Valley, but do expect everything to pick back up in the spring because that's when people naturally move. So my other tip is, if you're thinking about buying a house, interest rates have just come down. They might come down a little bit more, but I recommend getting into your house before the new year, because that's when prices are going to be the softest right now. After the new year, I can't guarantee that the buyers are going to hold back anymore. A lot of buyers hold off for the holidays. Don't be one of them. Take advantage of where prices are now, negotiate your position, get better repairs, and get into your home before the market starts to take back off. If you're thinking about selling your house, on the west side, it's a great idea. In the South Bay, it's gotten a little softer, so you have to be a little more competitive with your pricing in order to get the attention and the eyeballs that you deserve. However, in the South Bay and in the Valley, it might not hurt to wait for the new year as buyers start to come back in the market. It's Kevin DeSilva here again, working at the #1 small team in California for Douglas Elliman. You guys have a wonderful day.